Good morning. Hi, I'm Eric Knowles, President of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and this is our Member Connection. It is Monday, October 11th. And you guys, you know how I get about this year, this blowing by. But hey, the last quarter, got to suck it up and bring it home, as they say, in that quarter mile or that 800. Anyway, a word from our supporter.
The disproportionate impact of
more than half of Black business owners.
And disproportionate.
Somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, for the curators of the culture, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising.
Well, I'm back, and I want to welcome our guest today, Miss Miriam West Nesbit with Coldwell Banker. How are you?
Good morning. Nice
Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you. So good to see you. You know, wow, real estate. I mean, Miami is definitely booming. And let's find out a little bit more about you before we get into this real estate thing. Miriam West Nesbit, how long, what got you into real estate, and how long have you been in?
Well, I've been into real estate over 34 years.
Wow.
And it was like an evolution from being a receptionist when I was, in college to now. It just evolved. Mm-hmm.
Right. So now, as you said, 34 years. I mean, I remember the boom in the 80s. And we had so much going on, and then in the 90s, and obviously we had the meltdown in 2008 or so. And here we are now in this, I would call it an amazing renaissance that has happened in the last 10 years, and I mean still happening. Real estate, it's so many different things. Obviously, you got commercial real estate, you have private property. And I was reading your bio, and one thing that you talk about is the fact of families building wealth through real estate. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, well, and that's one of the things I enjoy, because whether I'm helping a family or an investor, family with children, the children need that stability in a home, and they thrive better, in their own home than having to move year after year. Thanks to COVID, I mean, this is crazy. This COVID, I mean. A lot of misfortune has happened, but as far as real estate goes, the time frame for the time that you put the house on the market to contract date has gone down to 17 days, and it was like 54 days before that, before COVID, and where the prices are going up higher than the appraisals are having issues because they go back 6 months, but the prices have appreciated from 6 months ago. So it's I believe it's better than the stock market because it's harder to get in, but it doesn't fluctuate like that year over year like other investments do. So it's more stable, and because of COVID, we have more people coming into Florida. We don't have state tax, so we have a lot of people coming in from the northern parts of the United States trying to save on that tax. They want more space, right, due to COVID.
Right.
So that demand, and the fact that our rates are lower than ever. I mean, they have inched up to 3%. They were at 2%. And NAR thinks that it'll probably be 3.5 next year. But I remember when 10% was a good rate. So I tell people, take advantage. Anything fixed rate for 30 years, even at 3% or anything under 5, is phenomenal.
Absolutely. I remember buying my first house and the interest rate was 11%. So,
Well, remember in 79, we had that false inflation. Well, it went up to 18%. And
right.
that's when we
And
had
that
the
was
wraparound mortgages and all kinds of crazy, ways to get around it.
exactly. And you're saying in 79, I bought my first house in 1982. And like I said, it was 11%. But, the one thing that you're talking about, like you said, you have a lot of folks moving into the state. At one point, I heard there was like 1,000 people a day, families a day, moving into Florida itself. And obviously, we have a lot of corporations moving into Miami-Dade County. You see a lot of the tech boom happening here. And obviously, the mayor has been very big proponent, big champion of tech. And how is commercial real estate? I know that, oh gosh, what was it? Blackwell, I forget the company that just bought the building over the Bright Line.
Oh, yeah, I don't recall the exact name, but
Right.
I know it has the word black on there as well.
Right, exactly.
A lot of corporations have moving their headquarters over here.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So with the fact that, to your point, corporations are moving their headquarters, so that means people are moving from wherever, a lot of them are from New York, that
Right.
we know, and other parts of the country.
And Chicago.
And I can understand leaving Chicago. Not
Yes.
nothing. No, I love Chicago. It's one of the most beautiful cities that we have. But December and January is not.
It's too cold. Woo!
So, but I guess that has really increased your opportunities to do business because, as you said, the corporations are moving their entire businesses here, and obviously employees coming here, and they're either moving down to Brickell, moving to Miami, like you said, having more space. Because obviously in New York, in the city, if you're living in the city, you're living in a condo. But here you can probably get three more times the size of a property that what you would.
More space for your buck, yeah. Down
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So for people moving in from Chicago and New York, they think the prices were cheap, right?
Exactly.
It's just pricing our locals out of the market.
So yeah, that's the next point where I was going to go. You got folks coming, like you said, from New York or Chicago, and they think our prices are cheap, which basically is pushing back to your point of the fact that a house was on the market for 54 days. Now it's 17 days. Mm-hmm. But also, I'm sure you're having bidding wars out there as well, right?
Absolutely. So it's not like you find your house and you make an offer and that's it. No, if it's a good price and if it's been updated, you'll have 5, 10, 15 offers on that house, especially under the 600 price range, between 3 and 6. That's right. Like the one that has more activity, and then over 2 million. There are a lot of high-end people coming because of the space, right?
Right.
But yeah, so a buyer might have to make 2 or 3 offers before he gets the house that he wants.
Right.
Which is unheard of.
So that's the thing now. Okay, so the prices have gone up. So now where do you go after you sell that house? That I'm sure that's been a challenge as well.
Exactly. What some sellers have had to do, they've had to rent for a year, put their stuff in storage, because if the buyer wants to, close within 45 days or so, the seller doesn't have time to buy a house because he's going to be going now through the multiple offer situation.
Right.
If he stays in Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach, that's Tri-County, the issues that we're having. So they're having to rent, and rents have also gone up because the people that can't buy for whatever reason, they have to rent. So the rents have also gone up. And that's why you see a lot, and the demand has increased. I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of more apartment buildings being built, and
absolutely
in every corner. I guess once the market changes, they'll probably sell those. That investor will sell that into a condo 10 years from now. But right now, a lot of apartment buildings being built,
Absolutely, absolutely.
because the
So,
new condos are all a million, 2 million and up. Nothing in the 300 to 500 range in a new condo
right.
doesn't exist.
It we're talking about, we mentioned Brickell, and then you go up along Biscayne Boulevard, Edgewater. And when you think about, again, our whole landscape has changed in the last 10 years.
It's amazing when you drive down 95 going into Brickell, coming from the north to south, and you see that downtown Biscayne, all skyscrapers. It's beautiful. But if you were here 30 years ago, that wasn't like that. Remember, Brickell was just a few. They had banks, a few
And that was
condos,
it.
but and then some banks. But now it's like Soho, right? It's the Wall Street of South Wall Street is what it is
Yeah,
now.
well, not just it's Wall Street of the Caribbean as well. So when you let's speak about that, when you have a lot of folks in the Caribbean investing into South Florida, talk about that a little bit.
Well, they're not just the Caribbean. I mean, they've spent millions of dollars on our port, so we are having our increase of you know products coming in.
Right.
They enlarged that. The Panama Canal got enlarged so that we can have now the
The
cruise
mega
ships,
ships.
mega ships from China. Instead of them having to go to LA, they can come through here now. I don't know with COVID if that's happening, but they've made arrangements so that would happen in the future. And because even with all this craziness, the United States is the most stable country to invest in. We have people from all over coming to invest here in the United States and Florida.
Right. So, like you say, it's not just the Caribbean; it's pretty much the world, South America, Europe, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. Um, Now, the other side of that. Now, we saw the bubble burst in 2008, and you keep hearing little murmurs or people saying, "Well, when is it gonna blow up? When is it gonna burst?" With the fact that you have housing rising here in South Florida, and I guess over the United States, but we've recovered when we talk about the pandemic because we have the beautiful weather. A lot of we were able to continue to stay open. When we think about restaurants were able to have 100% clientele if they had outdoor seating. So people continued to come to South Florida, so we were recovering a lot faster. So what do you see the future looking like?
Well, I know people think that there's going to be another bubble burst, but I don't believe that, because to be able to get a loan, unlike in 2005, where if you were breathing, you got a loan, now you have to prove income. And they check and double check and double check. So it's not easy to get a loan. Most of these sales nowadays are also people coming in with large, 10% or 20% or even more. So they have money in the game. They're not trying to buy it with 3% down.
Right.
So, and it's the demand. If we didn't have and I've heard it's as high as 1,200 people coming down every day to Florida. Thankfully, they don't all come to Dade County.
Right.
They are stopping at Gainesville and Tampa and Orlando. But the Tri-County, we get that demand. So the high demand with the low interest rates is causing this prices to go up. So unless the demand slows down, once the interest rates start inching up, they're already saying that it's probably be 3.5% next year.
But
So
again,
that's
as you
going
said, that's low. I mean, we considering when it could be 5, 6, or 7%. So let me ask you about this, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Airbnb. So what's your take on that?
So Airbnb is, they're buying their own buildings because it's not that easy. Most residential areas do not want you to do Airbnb, like Coral Gables, Miami Beach is trying to track down on them, and most condos, unless it's a hotel condo, will not allow you to rent daily. They have restrictions, either 30 days, the minimum days. Some even have no lease the first year. So it's not that easy for a regular person unless you buy your own, building. Like you can buy 3 or 4 units.
Right.
Would you see that in Wynwood? And then you could do those Airbnb. So I see a lot of people trying to even rent a unit and then sublease it out, and that's not allowed in most
Right.
condos.
Right. So, and speaking of, you just brought up Wynwood, and obviously the change there, and then you said they're building condos in Wynwood. Do you see the flavor of Wynwood remaining with all the building that they're doing there?
Oh yes, it's going to continue to evolve. It's very artsy and lots of restaurants, and all the young people like to go there because it's a walkable
Right.
area. And then we have our high-end designers there. It's in the plans to build a hotel over there for when we have our Art Basel. I guess at some point they'll be able to stay there. So that is going to continue to grow and flourish.
So what is your advice to anyone who's looking for real estate right now?
Buy now while the rates are low, and as low as they're going to get. I don't believe it's going to go back to 2% anymore. We've seen that most of the people have already refinanced their homes. They say if you can get a rate 2% lower than what you already have now, that would be a good time to refinance. The banks are seeing a slower refinance. People have already refinanced all through last year and this year. So if you save your monies, because when you go when you're competing with the multiple offer situation, remember the seller's going to pick the most solid buyer, right? Just put yourself in the seller's position. So if the buyer has 20% down, 30% down, or even 10% down compared to a lower deposit, they're gonna pick the one that's more solid. So save your funds so you have a good down payment and buy now.
Okay. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Well, my number's right there. It's 305-975-0753. You can call me or text me at any time. And I look forward to meeting and helping the members of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce with their real estate needs.
Well, thank you so much. Just want to let the members know, or those who are watching, if you want to know more about the chamber, you can go to www.m-dcc.org, or you can call the chamber at 305-751-8648. Miriam, thank you so much. Look forward to our continued engagement and you helping people grow their real estate investments.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.